Hi everyone, welcome back to the Learning Mindset. I am Teacher Don, and today we're talking about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and that is creating a positive learning space for students, both online and face-to-face. Bakit mahalaga na malaman natin ito? May kinalaman nga ba ang klase ng learning environment sa pagkatuto ng mga bata sa klase? Ang sagot, yes. At mahalaga na pag-usapan natin ito dahil sa panahon natin ngayon, mas mataas na yung level of anxiety ng mga bata sa loob ng klase. Dahil hindi na lang sila basta expected na mag-memorize ng mga concepts, but they are most importantly expected to perform very well in showcasing transfer of learning. Kaya importante na yung learning environment that we create in the classroom is something that is safe, inclusive, and non-judgmental. We've got to be flexible and ensure that our classrooms, whether it's face-to-face or virtual, are safe, inclusive, and engaging for all of our students. But how are we going to do that? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin sa episode na ito. Let's start with why creating a positive learning space is so important. Bakit mahalaga ito? Hindi ba pwedeng magturo na lang nang hindi mo na iniintindi kung kamusta ba ang mga estudyante mo? Ang sabi ni Susan Brooks, it is the learning environment that determines the success and motivation of the student to achieve. According to several studies, when students feel safe, respected, and included, they are more likely to be engaged, perform better academically, and contribute positively to class. These studies have shown that a positive learning environment considerably enhances academic performance and social and emotional growth. In short, mas participative yung mga bata dahil mas confident sila at mas mataas yung level of achievement nila sa klase. Tandaan natin that in teaching, it's not just about the physical space or the technology that we use. It is also the kind of culture that we create and cultivate in that space. Mapa-online man yan or face-to-face, we need to foster an environment where our students are comfortable expressing themselves and confident in taking risks for their learning. Now let's focus on how we can create a positive learning environment in a face-to-face classroom. Here are a few practical tips you can implement right away. Number 1 is flexible seating for comfort and choice. Ayon sa mga pag-aaral, flexible seating options can lead to increased motivation and engagement and can also facilitate collaboration and communication by making it easier for students to work together in groups. Maswerte tayo kung mayroong budget ang eskwelahan na mag-invest into different seating options. Kasi pwede kang mag-request ng beanbags or standing desks para yung students mo ay hindi lang sila palaging nakaupo sa armchairs. Maganda rin kasi na from time to time, vinavary mo yung seating options ng mga bata. Because I believe that our students need to feel comfortable for optimal learning, and giving them a choice in where they can sit can make a difference. Also, allowing students to choose their seating based on the task or their personal needs fosters a sense of autonomy and comfort. But of course, alam naman natin that we don't have the luxury of these things. You can experiment on the seating patterns or arrangements instead. Halimbawa, for the first quarter, by pair sila. Pagdating na second quarter, by group naman sila. By third quarter, iba naman. Depende sa kung paano komportable ang klase mo. Kailangan din kasi na strategic yung seating arrangement so that it becomes more purposeful at hindi lang basta trip natin. Number 2, create a welcoming environment. The school climate and the academic performance are two things that we cannot ignore in a school. According to a study on internally displaced children in Manila, it has found out that a supportive school climate characterized by positive teacher and student relationships and a sense of safety was positively associated with students' academic performance. Kaya hindi natin pwedeng sabihin na walang kinalaman ang learning environment sa academic performance sa mga bata dahil meron talaga. To do this, you can decorate your classrooms with students' work, visual aids, or simple interactives or manipulatives that are directly relevant to the learning of the students. Because when the students see that the physical value of their classroom is supportive to their learning, they feel recognized and valued. E paano yung DepEd Order number 21 o 2023? Di ba bawal na maglagay ng mga classroom decorations? I think meron namang pwedeng workaround dito. Kasi kahit sinabi ng order na ito that classroom walls shall remain bare and devoid of posters and other posted materials, naniniwala ako that there are creative ways to still utilize our classroom walls to purposefully aid our teaching and learning. One is, we have to make sure that our postables are temporary and removable. That instead of directly attaching the materials to the walls, we can utilize the whiteboards or the bulletin boards for temporary displays so that you can easily change the contents regularly to keep it fresh and relevant. Next is, pwede tayo maghang ng mga fabric panels or curtains that can be easily attached and removed from walls that can serve as backdrops to display student work, anchor charts, or other learning materials on the designated learning zones within the classroom. But remember, before you do this, it is always a good idea to consult your school administration and colleagues to ensure that your chosen workarounds align with the school's policies and guidelines. By thinking creatively and adapting to the guidelines, you can still create a vibrant and stimulating learning environment even with bare walls. Number 3, develop routines and procedures. Ayon sa isang article na pinublish ng SDB Incorporated, ang mga estudyante natin kailangan nila ng structure and familiarity as they continue to learn and develop. And classroom routines and procedures give them that predictability during the day. Because they will know what to expect each day, therefore, they feel more confident and secure in their daily activities. For younger children, a routine engages them in learning and helps them feel safe in their environment, while for older children, it helps them know what to expect, feel more comfortable, and in control. That is why hindi natin pwedeng isawalang bahala ang classroom routines sa learning process. Simple things like starting the day with a check-in, exercise, or a mindfulness moment can really go a long way in helping students settle into the learning environment. Classroom routines are powerful because they create consistency, enhances behavior management, reduces classroom disruptions, and boosts focus and engagement. At bilang mga teachers, gusto natin yon. According to a book published by Sarah Blakemore, routines can be particularly useful for children and adolescents because the areas of the brain responsible for attention and self-regulation are still developing. So make sure that you establish routines and procedures in your own classroom. Now, let's shift to the virtual world. Teaching online presents its own challenges as well, but we can still create a positive and welcoming learning space for students. Here's how. Number 1, set clear expectations for behavior online. Students need clear expectations in the virtual space, lalo na that you are separated by distance and space. Kaya, you need to establish rules for participation, such as using the chat respectfully, muting when others are speaking, and keeping cameras on when possible to maintain that personal connection and sense of normalcy. Establishing Zooms or Google Meet etiquettes can help you a lot in keeping your students engaged and managing their attention. Number 2, use breakout rooms for small group interaction. Gustong-gusto kong ginagamit ito because it allows me to give my students an opportunity to make connections with one another, and it makes my class more personal. Breakout rooms are a great way to build community in the online space. By putting students in smaller groups, you can allow them to engage more deeply with their peers, they can share ideas, and collaborate on learning activities. And as the teacher, you also have the control to hop in these breakout rooms to check in and ensure that your students are on task. Number 3, build personal connections. Challenging talaga kapag online ang klase dahil maraming bagay ang hindi mo kontrolado, tulad ng activities ng mga bata behind their camera. Yun palang sobrang taxing na pagdating sa pag-build ng personal connection with them, lalo na kung palagi pang naka-off yung camera nila. But the good news is, even in an online classroom, you can still get to know your students as individuals. For example, you can start your lesson with a fun icebreaker or a question of the day to get your students talking and feeling more comfortable with each other via recitation man yan or via chat box. You can even have virtual check-ins where your students can share how they're feeling that day. O kaya naman you allow them to change their virtual backgrounds or use filters from time to time. Challenging man ang online classes, but it doesn't mean that we won't be able to establish a positive learning environment for our students. At palagi nating tatandaan that whether we're conducting the class online or face-to-face, emotional safety is key to a positive learning space. So here are a few ways to encourage emotional safety in both settings. Number 1, acknowledge and validate emotions. Create an environment where students feel comfortable in sharing how they're feeling. You can do this by modeling emotional openness yourself. For example, acknowledge when something is tough and validate when students express frustration, joy, or confusion. Kasi sino ba ang model nila sa loob ng classroom? Walang iba kundi ikaw lang. Ang sabi nga ni Dr. J. Nelson, children will listen to you after they feel listened to. And number 2, celebrate effort, not just achievements. Madalas masyado tayong nakafocus sa achievements at yun lang yung sineselebrate natin. Paano naman yung ibang mga bata na hindi naman ganun ka-achiever? They will feel unfavored if their efforts are not celebrated. Encourage a growth mindset by celebrating students' effort and perseverance, not just the final results. This helps students see learning as a process, not just an end result. And over time, This reduces the fear of failure and mistakes. Ang sabi nga ni Elliot Macy, learning is a process, not an event. Number 3, create a no judgment zone. You have to make it clear to your students that your classroom, whether it's online or in person, is a no judgment zone. That mistakes are part of learning and questions are always welcome. When students feel safe from these things, they are more likely to engage and learn deeply. You know, ang isa sa mga kinakatakutan ng mga Gen Z sa classroom ay yung ma-judge sila ng mga kaklase nila, because they fear na yung mistake nila will become their branding sa mga classmates nila, lalo na sa high school. That's why it's always important to remind our students about this, that our classrooms are a no judgment zone. Ang sabi nga na St. Teresa of Calcutta, this is my favorite. If you judge people, you have no time to love them. Remember that creating a positive learning space isn't just about the physical setup or the technology that we use. It is also the social and emotional atmosphere that we create. Whether you're teaching online, in person, or a mix of both, your students need to feel safe, valued, and connected to you and to each other. I hope these tips have given you some ideas to try in your own classroom, and I hope that you will also share with your fellow teachers. So how about you? What strategies do you use to create a positive learning environment? I'd love to hear your ideas, so share your thoughts in the comments. You can also connect with me on social media for short form and bite-sized videos that can definitely elevate your teaching. And if you have topic recommendations that you'd like me to talk about in the future episodes, please drop them in the comments as well. Muli, ito po si Teacher Don na nagsasabing, the best way to learn is by having a learning mindset. See you in the next episode.